And today's episode of the Rants of Izzo show on this freezing, like negative -5 day out here in Chicago is brought to you by Spreely.com. Check out Spreely.com. Go there. All things free speech. You got stuff you want to say. You want to say it without fear of being censored. Or if you ever notice how you go to like your other favorite apps and then you type in something and then before you hit send it says other comments like this have been flagged, and that's not going to happen when you go to Spreely. So go to Spreely.com, check out all the things that are free speech and the other shows on there, the platform as well too. The Burn Pit Podcast, Report and Opine, Shannon Joy Show, Pete Santilli Show, Evening Rants, and more. Free speech platform on Spreely.com. You can go to your smart TV, Apple, Roku, Fire Stick, and you could download free Spreely TV for that, or Freedom Hub for your smartphone. Also today, Flex Your Feminine, co-sponsor for the show. Just flex it. Get out. Don't ask me what that means. I'm not feminine. So if you are feminine, you're a woman, an organically born, natural, biological woman with the proper DNA and chromosomes to prove it, then go to flexyourfeminine.com. All right, let's have a show.
Prepare yourself.
The opinions of the host and guests on this show are exclusively just that, opinions. That means that they shouldn't be the cause of your state of being offended. Why does everybody get so butthurt?
Okay, let's go. Ready, go!
Sit down, shut up, and pay attention.
Damn!
This is the Rants of Izzo Show with your hosts, Dominic Izzo, from porn to politics. We touch every third rail we can find. You might want to put your headphones on so your mom can't hear this. It's been called the most entertaining 60 minutes on the internet, and it starts now. Let's do this.
Hi, happy January 21st. This is the Rants of Izzo show here on Spreely Media. If you're new, this is a free thought stream of consciousness show where we praise and shit on both sides simultaneously. All things from politics to porn that we discuss here. And if you're offended, that's your own problem. I can't help that. We are streaming live 5 days a week, Monday through Friday at noon Central, 1 Pacific to brighten up your midday. Sitting in with me again for this week. I almost called you Shannon Joy, which makes no sense because I haven't had her on yet. Kayla from Flex Your Feminine. Normally we're not Fridays, but Eric is not back yet. So thanks for filling in today. Appreciate that.
Absolutely. Happy to be here.
Good. Is your life improved since Trump got sworn in yesterday? Is everything fixed and solved in your life?
I mean, it's like Groundhog's Day. I mean, woke up in Babylon yesterday, woke up in America today.
Well,
everything's perfect overnight. Everything's perfect.
Yeah, that's how it was supposed to go. President Biden pardoned 5 members of his family in the last minutes in office, saying in a statement that he did so not because they did anything wrong, but because he feared political attacks from incoming President Donald J. Trump. Quote, "My family has been subjected to unrelenting attacks and threats motivated solely by a desire to hurt me, the worst kind of partisan politics," he said in his statement as president. Quote, "Unfortunately, I have no reason to believe these attacks will end." Mr. Biden's actions pardoned James Biden, his brother, Sarah Jones Biden, James's wife, Valerie Biden's Owen, his sister, John T. Owens, her husband, and Frances Biden, his mother. He pardoned his mother.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way. Whoa. She's not alive. That's not possible.
Well, he also pardoned Anthony Fauci going back to.
Yeah, I saw that. That's not possible. Mr. Mr. Biden's sister, John T. Owens, Mr. Mrs. Owens, and Francis W. Biden, Mr. Biden's brother. I misread that.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
The White House has announced the pardons were less than 20 minutes left of his presidency. He had already walked up to the Capitol Rotunda to witness the swearing in of Trump before leaving the Capitol. Here's his quote. "I believe in the rule of law, and I'm optimistic that the strength of our legal institutions will ultimately prevail over politics," Biden wrote. But Baseless and politically motivated investigations wreak havoc on the lives, safety, and financial security of targeted individuals and their families, even when individuals have done nothing wrong and will ultimately be exonerated. The mere fact of being investigated or prosecuted can irreparably damage reputations and finances. You got an opinion, go with that, dude, because where this puts me with how life is clearly is it called gaslighting where they're talking about something they've done? Okay. So that's that's what's in play right here. And we've seen it over and over and over again. And I use the analogy all the time. My brain works in movie and TV analogies. And then in this specific analogy for gaslighting, I always use Lady Holiday and her brother Nicky from The Great Muppet Caper as an analogy. Nicky, played by Charles Grodin, who sadly passed years ago, was a thief, and you kind of knew that in the beginning of the movie. And Lady Holiday is out at a dinner club wearing a diamond necklace, and she just does not know why Nicky insisted that she wear this diamond necklace tonight. She doesn't feel safe with it. And Nicky is playing like aloof and the playboy and the rich dumb brother who doesn't do it. And he's dancing in the seat. And she's like, as the band is swinging and playing, and she goes, I feel like thieves are breathing down my neck. And he goes, thieves aren't breathing down your neck. And he says it to breathe down her neck as he's gaslighting her.
Right.
This is what I want to. It's Bird Box, right? You don't believe me? Let me pry your eyes open so you see. Since we can't physically harm these people, slap Joe Biden around and go, what the fuck is wrong with you, man? What can we do with this clear proof that both sides, but more so in the left, they are accusing us of the exact same thing that they do every single day?
Yeah. Well, I just, pardoning, why would you pardon yourself if you're innocent? Why would you pardon all of these people that are innocent? It doesn't make any sense. And that's kind of where I leave it, because we even have a clip from 2021, I believe, after the January 6th fiasco got started, and people who are still in prison because we have prisons who are refusing to follow the executive orders that Trump sent down last night, holding prisoners. And we had Adam Schiff on record saying that you don't pardon innocent people. Having pardons for crimes that don't exist, it just doesn't make sense. I'm tripping over my words because I'm so sick of shit not making sense. It's painful. It's painful to try to piece them together. And this is what I think is part of their game, is that they want us tripping over our words and short circuiting in our own thought process about it, because it doesn't make sense. And so it keeps us distracted and arguing about it. The reality is that you don't pardon innocent people. If there has been no crime committed, you don't need a pardon, period. So
I have to wonder the intelligence of the people who are consuming their information, and how desperate are they left to the unhinged people on the left. And Libs of TikTok has been posting videos of people who are literally threatening to shoot conservatives and Republicans. And it's you believe something that will never happen to you. I have family who literally believes that they're going to take away the rights for interracial marriages. They're coming after them. It's what is wrong with you? What is wrong? And it's almost like I can't specify. Are you right? And where's your proof? And are you this unintelligent? It just literally floors me on this. And
the sad thing is that they are that unintelligent. And there's I think our education system is a pretty good proof that that experiment has failed people, because people are dumb. We have a huge percentage of our population that are dumb. And by dumb, I'm not saying that to be mean. I'm saying that to mean that you guys don't understand logic. You don't know logical fallacies. You don't know proper the proper way to test theories. You don't understand how to formulate ideas or test concepts or fact check. Like, we're not taught anymore in the industrial education system how to do this. We've been brainwashed. So now we have generations with a vast percentage of people from those generations who are operating from a position of being brainwashed, and that needs to be short-circuited so that they can wake up. And I know that like matrix terminology is like way overused, but the reality really is they need to wake up, smell the roses, take the red pill, whatever you want to call it, and realize that they've been put in this position and they have a choice, a free will choice given to them by God, their creator, to either stay asleep, stay brainwashed, and stay in that system, or wake up and rise to the third heaven and bring his kingdom down. Like, that's your opportunity. That's your choice. And if you choose the former, then you're dumb. You're dumb. And even Jesus called people dumb. So I don't feel bad about doing that. No, like, everyone has the same opportunity here. It's whether you are going to be able to see it and recognize it and take action on it or not.
Same publication talks about Trump's pardons. The extraordinary pardons and commutations extended to those who committed both violent and nonviolent crimes on January 6th, including assaulting police officers and seditious conspiracy. President Donald Trump, in one of his first official acts, issued a sweeping grant of clemency on Monday to all nearly of the 1,600 people charged in connection with the attack on the Capitol on January 6th, 2021. Issuing pardons to most of the defendants and commuting the sentences of 14 members of the Proud Boys and Oath Keepers militia, who most of who were convicted of seditious conspiracy. Trump's moves. I didn't see anything yet. Hopefully Joe Biggs is out. That Enrique Tarrio, they released him, who wasn't even in the he's the leader of the Proud Boy, wasn't even in the Capitol. He wasn't anywhere near it. He was a different state the day this happened. Trump's moves amounted to an extraordinary reversal for rioters accused of both low-level and nonviolent offenses, and for those who had assaulted police officers. Again, that whole police officer shit, they say 6 cops died as a result from that. Not one cop died on scene. I actually did a media coverage on this with RT America when they were out and they asked me about this. I actually think that there was suicides. There were suicides from it. And they said, do you think it was from the stress of January 6th? I said, no. I think it was the stress of pressured down command staff to fall in line, X, Y, and Z, the leverage and all that kind of crap. And I think there's a lot more we will never be told. Right. They effectively erased years of efforts by federal investigators to seek accountability for the mob on the assault of the peaceful transfer of power after Mr. Trump's loss at the 2020 election. Everybody paid their price. Let's just say somebody was guilty. Somebody, because we have like criminal damage to state-supported property. So if you kick out a window of a squad car, that's criminal damage to state-supported property. If you, it's an aggravating factor in, like, if you kick out the window of my car, it's just criminal damage to property. So I get that. So let's just say you have somebody breaks out the windows in the Capitol building. It's this historic, 200-plus-year-old building. All this stuff. Great. They paid their price. It's been years. You do not go to jail for 4 years, for 18 years, for whatnot, for punching or pushing a cop or for breaking a window. So as far as I'm concerned, let them all out. But what
Trump mentioned that too, because when he was signing these executive orders in the Oval Office last night, they were live streaming him doing that. And there was a bunch of press in the Oval Office with him, blasting him with questions. He could barely sign in between all the questions that he was answering and handling really remarkably well, quite frankly, after a long day. I don't think I would have been handling it that smoothly. And one of the questions when he was signing the executive order to pardon these hostages / January 6th prisoners was, well, what about the consequences, basically? Like, I'm paraphrasing her question, but it was like, what about the consequences? What about those who assaulted police officers? What about those who killed police officers? The whole narrative. And his response was basically, there were 6 extenuating cases within that pardon that were still being finalized. So there were only 6 that they still needed more time to determine what to do with these people based off of what they were being held for. The rest of them, the 44 of the rest of the names were being pardoned because he was like, they've done their time. They've done more than their time. Like what everything you're just saying. He was like, the punishment doesn't fit the crime for the way
it was an embarrassment. The amount of law enforcement resources that it took, like to go to the couple in Alaska and take them into custody for walking around. One guy was talking about his client who was an independent journalist photographer who was was not political at all. 18-month conviction for walking around inside the Capitol and photographing. You compare this to your local municipal police force, who's something like, I don't know, the tires are slashed on your driveway and they never find out who did it because of their lack of resources, the lack of caring or about the investigation because it's not important to them. So it blows me away how you actually had men and women who were employed as law enforcement agents who got a memo down or sat in some roll call with their supervisor and said, we're going to go out and do this. And they actually went, yeah, let's do this. Instead of going, hey, Sarge, are you kidding me? Are you serious? Did you not see the double standard? Months prior, you had Antifa, Molotov cocktail, the White House lawn, burn down St. Joseph's Church, all this other. We're not doing that, right? We're not doing that? So when it comes down to that is why I keep saying, law enforcement and all these people who still blindly back the blue do not understand you're terrorists who have badges who will do it to you. Michael Byrd, pardoned for murdering Ashley Babbitt. I want to know what's going to happen too now when you have these Proud Boy members, right? And I give him credit all the time. I am here because of Joe Biggs. Joe Biggs got me started on podcasting. He set me up with Spreely, all this. So it's like, I'm very, very appreciative of him. He was always extremely good to me. But if Joe Biggs, who's got military experience, loves this country, part of a militia, Proud Boys, all this, do we think that all these people who were higher ups in leading militias, which are necessary for this country, which are constitutional, except for in your state where it's like, no, you can't, like Illinois, you can't have a militia without express permission from the governor of the state, which makes no sense whatsoever. But
exactly the opposite of the point. But
do we think that these people will sit there and then now go, all right, that was, I'm not doing that again. Yeah, I'm gonna tone it down. No more rallies for me. No more talking for me. Did the government achieve their job by showing, you could be very militant, very pro-America, very patriotic, but if you do what Joe Biggs did, which was walk around a place with a radio, you're going to spend 18 years, you're going to be convicted and spend 18 years in prison unless you get pardoned by the president? Or do we think this kind of ignited a fire for people to go, no, now even more? No. The government is corrupt. This is our chance. This is our window. We need to step up to the plate. While we have 4 years to establish American patriotism to the Constitution, triple down on our militia building. And if they do this again next time, sorry, we're not going. We're not going peacefully.
Yep. Yeah.
I would like to think that would happen.
The latter, for sure. And that is definitely that is the vibe right now. That is the vibe right now. There's a lot in this transition phase that we're in right now that Trump has taken office, as he is signing these hundreds of executive orders and putting things in place and freezing hiring in the federal government and freezing foreign aid so that things can be renegotiated and reoriented and recalibrated. People are watching and they're noticing the hypocrisy of what's being done so quickly now within the last 24 hours versus what was not accomplished and what was not done over the last 4 years.
I wonder if we have that opportunity. People are going to do that because I don't know. I mean, I look at, and I have a hard time comprehending this, and I always play these like weird scenarios in my head. Like, what would I do if I had a cop who pulled me over, and I don't do it. I know, like, a cop just it throws a fucking bag of coke in my car while they're arresting me. Oh, get out of the car! And what would I do? Because I'd be playing like the long game. You're going to get arrested. They're going to wind up tainting your name. It's not yours. You didn't do it. The legal system's going to crucify you, this, that. Or do I fight back and then, 5 or 10 other squad cars show up and it's going to be game over, but at least I'll go out in a blaze of glory. Like when people look at I had a video when I first started doing social media that went viral because I kind of took the accountability of thanking what it means when people thank police officers. And it was in a time when we had the G.I. Joe Glenowitz case up in Fox Lake, Illinois. We thought that a cop was murdered by 3 people. Turns out he committed suicide. But before we found out the truth of everything, I did this video that had like 500,000 views in a day. And this was back when you can go viral very easy. So on a follow-up video, I implored people, just comply. Just comply on the street. You'll lose on the street, but you'll win in court, the snap. Next thing you know, people are calling me. Dude, Adam Carolla played your shit on his radio program. So-and-so talked to it. 1.5 million views in a month. I'm like, oh my God. Wow. I don't have that view anymore. Mm-hmm. I don't. Because if you look, and I use Trump as the example, whatever you think about him personally, it was proven that everything was BS by Biden pardoning all of the members of his family. So if Trump was which
isn't going to stand.
Right, well, that's my point. So if you have a judge changing the instructions of the jury, expanding or allowing the district attorney to prosecute things that have never been prosecuted before, all of this, all of the things that the legal experts came online and said, or came on and showed, said this is unprecedented, this is illegal, this can't stand. And then you're convicted off of illegal. If it's fruit of the poisonous tree for a police officer to get a confession out of you, and he didn't even read Miranda, so now you get to go for not for killing your wife. How is it not fruit of the poisonous tree for the judicial system, all the way to the point where you're in Trump's shoes? You get illegally charged, you get illegally prosecuted, and then they go, hey, listen, okay, Kayla, you're going to have to spend 18 months in prison. And you just go, sorry, I do not recognize the authority of this court. I don't recognize the authority of your conviction. I will not be reporting to prison on that day. They're going to send people after you. But Is that what we need from our higher up politicians to set the standard? Because there was only 2 things that would have made a difference for Trump's conviction. Either A, Trump saying, convict me all you want, I am not showing up, this is immoral, it's wrong, and he couldn't have been the one to do it because it would look like, or every cop in New York who went to book him and process him said, no, we are not doing this. This is wrong. This is immoral. This is against the Constitution. We swore an oath against the Constitution, up to uphold the Constitution against both enemies, foreign and domestic. You are prosecuting somebody. This is the wrong, and you can't, this is illegal. So we should have had law, but law enforcement won't do that. And I don't know if anybody in a position as Trump's a level will go, I'm not fucking doing it, dude. So this is an issue we have in America. We have to revolt against this corrupt system. And that's the only way I think things will change.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, agreed. And I think I'm not really sure what that revolt needs to look like at this point. I think people who don't want to go down in a blaze of glory in the street or in the courtroom, which I understand fully, felt like their last chance at a revolt, short of going down in a blaze of glory or storming the Capitol and actually doing damage, right? Because January 6th was soft. Like, give me a break.
Oh,
if it was back in the 1800s or, Boston Tea Party style, like, people would, all of our officials in the state capitol would have been dead on January 6th. Like, if George Washington was here and had his way on it, everyone would have been hung from the highest rafters on January 6th. So let's be real. Like, the American people who showed up on January 6th were peacefully protesting. because if they wanted to do damage, it's not like there was any resistance to stop them. Pelosi didn't let military show up to protect them, National Guard to protect them. She refused that. We have it on camera, people opening up the Capitol doors to let the protesters walk around inside. I mean, this has all been well documented. Like, I feel like a broken record reciting all of that. It's well documented and proven. So I think that the polls in November were the more pacifist, like the last ditch effort for the pacifist portion of our American society to try to revolt and have their voices heard, because it was like the last ditch effort of, okay, fine, I will try to trust in democracy one more time. Let's see how this turns out. And if this doesn't work, then I guess the rest of the population is going to have to revolt and people are going to die. That's kind of the feeling I've gotten the last 6 months.
It's everywhere. This criminal justice system, this should scare the shit out of you. It's the greatest in the world, but it's still so screwed up here. And it doesn't just happen on a federal level. I talked about it over the weekend. They had the third in 10 years, 48-hour special, the CBS News 48 Hours, on a woman named Melissa Kaluzinski. And if you followed me forever, you know how personal this story is to me. Long and the short of the story, for those who aren't new to this, is Melissa Kaluzinski in 2009 was convicted, in 2010 she was convicted, of murdering a toddler. And what they said was she picked a toddler up while she worked at a daycare, and she threw the toddler to the ground, fracturing his skull, killing him. There is proof, literal documented proof, confirmed, corroborated by medical examiners across the nation that she didn't do it. That the x-ray proves that this young boy, who was 18 months, I believe, had pre-existing, had a healing membrane, which said that no, whatever injury he had from months ago. So this is, it's not there. We have a forced confession, and this is why it's personal for me, because it was from my chief of police, forced her into a confession. It's on video. Anybody can watch it. 9 hours, 2 men bullying a woman. She's got a 70 IQ, so she's not very intelligent. She had been raped prior, so she was pleading with these 2 men, I'll do whatever I can to get out. And the courts don't care. They just released in this latest 48-hour edition that 2 experts who are forensics experts, it is their professional opinion that someone within the Lake County State's Attorney in Illinois manipulated the negative value of the x-rays so that when the defense got it, they couldn't read it. So now you have professionals saying, no, we think that your state's committed a crime, your state's attorney committed a crime. We have documentable it's not pathological, but that's not the word I'm looking for. Medical evidence and proofs from professionals who have been confirmed and reconfirmed by medical professionals. We have experts saying, no, that was a false confession. She doesn't, you can't commit it. She can't commit a crime that was committed 3 months earlier. And the state still will not release her. I don't understand. In our system, you could be arrested for murder, sent to jail after being now I didn't do anything, and then years later I come forward and say, no, that was actually me. Here's the gun. The barrel will match the markings on the bullet casing. I've got a video of me doing it. I'm giving you a written confession. What more do you want? I did it. Here's me doing it. Here's the weapon. Here's the confession. And they still will keep you in prison.
Yeah.
They will. Literally, people don't understand this. Someone explained to me how A, that's lawful, and B, and I say this for entertainment purposes only.
Of course.
If you have someone like who was walking through the halls of January 6th, and literally it was a grandma walking through the hall, looking around, and she didn't do anything, and she had to serve like a 4-year prison sentence. How are we the people, as Maddie Wax said, these Christian fucking pussies, not going to whatever federal facility she's standing in and saying, listen, let her the fuck out, or there's going to be war.
Right.
There's going to be war. I personally, and I don't care what this puts me on, if we are not willing to take it that far, after everything provable, here's literal proof, physical proof, evidentiary proof, documentable proof. All right, so huge proof. We have innocent people in prison or it's political prosecution. Unless we are willing to say, all right, no, this is going to be a war. This is a flat out fucking physical civil war. Unless you acknowledge you fucked up, then this country will never be back on track.
Yeah, correct. I mean, back in I heard the other day, and I didn't have time to fact check this. However, so for whatever that's worth, guys, but I heard the other day that during the Great Depression, when we had farmers and ranchers unable to make their land payments, banks were seizing property, foreclosing on homes, seizing property, and then going and having what was called penny auctions, I believe, to sell off this property and, regain their investment or whatever as banks. And so what would happen is the community would show up with the original rancher farmer owner of this property at these penny auctions. And they would show up with guns. And as the auction got started, the owner that was being foreclosed on and stolen from by the banks would place a ridiculously low bet, like $1 for whatever, for their property, to get their property back. And if anyone was dumb enough to bid a competing offer, they got their teeth kicked in by the community. And this is how the communities regained control during the Great Depression of their property and protected each other by standing up against the banks. Until that happens at the local level, which is how our country was always meant to be ran, from the local level up, not from the top down. People have it so backwards now. The community, which starts with the family, needs to be reestablished. Until those priorities and values are reconstructed in this country and in this world, according to God's laws and values. Yeah, you're right.
The restart button needs to happen, man. It's priorities. Yeah. You rewind 200 years. What was it? It was you literally built your home with your hands, with people who cared. And maybe you were proud. You were proud of a fucking chair that you built. And that was your pride. And you've got books and, your level of entertainment was reading on the porch, smoking a pipe or a cigar. And
watching the sunset.
The things that you have were what you built, made, or whatnot. Maybe fishing was an entertainment back then. Now, why the hell should I help you when I got my car? I got my motorcycle. I got my things. I got my this. I got my priorities they've been so funneled and compressed to my world is my immediate possession. And it blows me away. You can't change somebody's views unless the reset button is hit. Then all of a sudden, nothing has any friggin' value anymore. And you're going to have to learn how to... what I used to say this all the time. If anybody ever wants to see exactly what a great view of the reset button is, go watch The Walking Dead. It's not a zombie series. It's about how civilization functions after everything is gone. And you've got your factions and you've got your leaders and you've got your people who are like, man, as far as I'm concerned, Negan had it down pat. You got to crack people on the head with a baseball bat to have the threat of violence. The threat of violence has to be there for a high functioning society. So
he's hot.
Yeah, he's a skinny guy, dude.
He's so hot though. That's the what do you call it? Oh, damn it. I'm ruining it. I lost the word.
Oh, he was
it's
right.
Like the very hyper feminine, hyper masculine, what they label as toxic masculinity is what built culture and society to run smoothly, right? So that we're not just bashing each other's faces.
Say that again. Say that again.
It's like it's what they call toxic masculinity nowadays, is the very protective, possessive, performance, production oriented masculinity that built society. so that we actually run smoothly instead of just run around and blindly, beat each other's faces in with baseball.
Think about that. If the world did go to shit, if the world went to shit, all these blue check marks who do so much talking, you guys are going to have to duke it out to see who's going to be followed.
Worthless. It's like that meme that's been going around since 2020 happened, where it's like, okay, girls, does your boyfriend, does he have any survival skills? Like, does he have any end of the world skills? Because this blue check mark, oh, I run a podcast that's really successful and my arms are the size of your big toe. Like, they don't work when we have end of the world. Like, I need my man to be able to hunt. I need him to be able to shoot. I need him to be able to beat somebody up if he needs to protect me and the kids. Like, these are the things that actually matter in the end of the world scenario,
I want to pivot for a second, and I want to bring this up. People are complaining that Trump suspended foreign aid assistance for 90 days. Let's see. President Trump signed an executive order temporarily suspending all U.S. foreign assistance programs for 90 days, pending reviews to determine whether they are aligned with his policy goals. It was not immediately cleared how much assistance would be initially affected by the Monday order. The order, among many Trump signed on his first day back in office, said the foreign aid industry and bureaucracy are not aligned with American interests and, in many cases, antithetical to American values, and serve to destabilize world peace by promoting ideas in foreign countries that are directly inverse to harmonious and stable relations internal to and among other countries. People are saying that obviously Israel is not on that list. For some of the biggest recipients of the U.S. assistance are Israel, $3.3 billion per year, Egypt, $1.5 billion per year, Jordan, $1.7 billion per year, are unlikely to see dramatic reductions as those amounts are included in long-term packages that date back to this decades and are in some cases governed by treaty obligations. I want to bring this up because I talked about this yesterday, and I've been going down the wormhole a lot with Israel lately. My drastic opinion has been from 2024 2023, October 7th. I'm like, oh my God, why is there so much hate on Israel and Jews? After being educated, I said, okay, I can see some issues here. Yesterday, I noticed we watched Trump's inaugural speech. I don't know if you watched it or not.
Oh yeah.
Did you see? And it was just blatant. I never understood when you have the State of the Union. The state of the union, the state of us, political partisanship is always with these stoic, like defiant opposite parties. So if a Democrat's in power, the Republicans will not stand when it's something that's prosperous, right? I don't care if the political ideologies apply. If Biden had said, hey, we're lowering the prices on gas and eggs, everybody should get up and be clapping. When Biden says, hey, we're securing our border, everybody should be clapping. I watched the entire his speech for inauguration, and when Trump was saying, even when he was talking about honoring Dr. Martin Luther King on his birthday to continue his American ideals and values for equity and equality, nobody's cheering, right? Excuse me, everybody's cheering. The only people that never stood or applauded anything were Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, both their spouses, the Clintons, Bill and Hillary, and Bush, except for one time when Trump announced the release of the hostages in the Middle East, clearly referring to Israelis who were being held captive by Hamas. Everybody but Bush got up. I don't know if he got up eventually. The camera panned. So I went, dear Lord, you're not going to clap for your grocery prices going down that affect Americans. You're not going to applaud for the eradication of gang members in inner cities. You're not going to applaud for Dr. Martin Luther King, but you will applaud for Israelis being released. I want to get your opinion on that first because I want to ask you a question that kind of points something out we started talking about years ago.
Okay. Well, I think too that Biden and his administration, which we all know Obama was running from the basement anyway, and the Clintons were involved with too, were desperate to take credit for that hostage release peace deal negotiation that got finalized in the days before this inauguration. So Biden quickly got up in front of the news and press and took credit for that. And then an hour later, his own people did a press conference and also credited Trump's team for that negotiation being able to take place. So I noticed the same thing that you're talking about. And I also credit it to, they are so desperate to take credit for something on the way out. And they think that that is the unifying thing of all the things that he listed in that speech that they can get behind, because they had some small part in making it happen at the 11th hour before they left office, and that they could have done over the past few years, but they didn't. Versus everything else that he listed was a backhanded dig at them and their failed policies throughout the past 4 years. So I'm not surprised that the Muppet Show didn't participate in him calling them out blow by blow. And then all of a sudden, oh, he lists something that we dotted an I on. And so we're going to stand up and we're going to take credit and we're going to clap for that. Yeah. I think it's both. I think it's the Israeli, AIPAC drama, as well as let's take credit for one thing that we can all agree on. And it just so happens to be Israel. Yeah.
It blows me away. That we have such pride-filled people who run this country who can't go, hey, you know what? If I'm head coach of a team and we're supposed to get the championship and somebody else steps in and they actually get the team to the championship, I'll take it I'll swallow my pride and be like, hey, at least you got it done. But we don't do that in politics.
Right.
Because we started to talk about this Friday and we started to talk about this on Wednesdays. And I'm driving in my car the other day and a thought hit me and I was like, thank God you're coming on Tuesday. Because I can't wait till Friday to talk about this. Mm-hmm. Between you and me, what is the number one topic you and I have talked about privately that I have always had a fear or a concern or an issue that directly relates biblically that I've talked to you in private about and said, man, what are your views on this?
Money.
Always. 100%. I have always been, man, I am terrified to make money because I grew up Catholic, and Catholics are always, you got to be poor. And then you look at, it was the love of money, but then you find out it's actually the love for money, blah, 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 blah. I started to look at things when it comes down to a perspective of using money as a weapon. And I'm gonna put all this together and I'm gonna let you dissect it and view it. We know that money in itself is not evil. It's just not. It's energy. You could do a shit ton with money, good or bad. But I started to look at two entities, which one is the Catholic Church. And I think the Catholic Church and the Jews are extremely guilty of this. Both is making you think money is so damn bad so that they can have it and you can't. And it kind of hit me like a ton of fucking bricks the other day. I'm driving and I'm going, there's such a relationship here. You got the Pope who's adorned in gold and they drink out of golden goblets and they shit on golden toilets in the Vatican, but they've got priest raping kid, pedophiles running, or kid raping priests running around all over the place and never do anything about. And they make you feel guilty about money. Christians, which I hate saying I am one because I can't stand them. I've met a lot of millionaires who are Christians. I've met I know a Christian billionaire. And they are philanthropic with their money. They're very generous with their money. Catholics are not. Structure. When it comes to the Jews, I started to look at this monopoly and they control and the banks and this and that. They are using that weapon and vilifying it for the rest of the people. So we will be in poverty. They can control it, hang on to all of it. And I'm just driving and going, there is no guilt with money. You shouldn't be guilt money. Man-made Catholics and fucking Jews made it so you need to feel guilty with money, be poor so we can control you. That's all this has been this entire time.
Correct.
Blows me away. Absolutely Correct. Blows me away.
And who are you? Who does God say you are?
Who am I? Well, I'm a blood. Who's my father?
Who does your father say you are?
A blood-bought adopted member of his family.
What is his family? How would you
body of Christ.
describe his family?
We're the body of Christ. No?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
How can I? He is he is the creator, he is the ruler, he is the majesty, he is the king of kings, right?
Mm-hmm.
That makes him royalty.
Yeah, kings aren't fucking poor.
Right. And we are his blood-bought sons and daughters, co-heirs with Christ.
Heirs. And you look at it, I thought about it. What a great trick. Satan to sit there on this earth and teach a people. If anybody believes in the book of
their identity, it's the same thing he did in the garden.
Right. If anybody believes in the book of Enoch, which I do believe, it's not canon for a reason, and I think that it's not canon because it's so damn truthful. But if you look at it, if all these fallen angels came down and they taught us how to make weapons for war, how to do abortions, how to females to seduce men and dye their eyes, medicines. If he taught us that, why would he not teach people this is how you control other people? Money. Vilify it. So supply and demand. Vilify it. Morally shame them. Tell them God doesn't want them to have it. They need to be poor. They need to be broke. That's the way to get to godliness. You collect it all and leverage it for your purposes.
And then we can control all the resources, and where there's resources, there is power. Here's the thing about our enemy. He has power in this realm. He does not have authority. Those are two very different things. We were given authority by the King of Kings. We are his royal co-heirs, right? The only way that our enemy can exercise his power is through authority. This is why when he tortured Job, he had to go to the throne room and request access and authority to be able to do any of it. He has the power, but it's not like it's easily unleashed. We give him authority all the time. We hand over our birthright, just like Esau did to Jacob for a bowl of soup, all the time, because we don't understand our identity in Christ. We don't know who we are. We're completely lost and have been brainwashed and bought these lies from the enemy, hook, line, and sinker. The thing about, poverty making you more righteous and all this kind of stuff, what we've talked about with money is a huge one. And the only way that the enemy maintains or can exercise any authority in this realm is when we give it to him. And you do not need to be conscious about this. If you choose ignorance, consciously or unconsciously, you will give him authority in that area of your life. And then he will have the power to manipulate it and cause suffering. And then no one talks about, like with Job. Okay, I brought up Job. No one talks about how God made him richer. After, richer, more wealthy, healthier, happier, richer.
Yeah, I'll go through the pious of suffering.
All the resources. Yeah, he has all the resources.
Look how much I'm suffering. I'm so much more pious than you. That's what Catholics always do. My whole life I grew up with that. The fear, and it just really blew me away. The fear of money has been forever. And you and I have had these conversations forever. I have felt guilty about making money, guilty about monetary success, this and that. Yeah. And a friend of mine actually showed me, I had the same conversation with him, and he goes, because he's pretty wealthy and he's off, very well to do. He goes, dude, Malachi 3:10. And of course, I being Catholic, we're never taught anything. It's just Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, shut up and swallow it. Okay. Malachi 3:10 is the only place in the Bible where God says, test me in these ways. And he talks about donating or tithe to the fullest, and he's going to wind up, elevating you. It doesn't say he's going to pay you back, but he's going to make sure he takes care of you. It just blows me away. I'm driving and that thought hit me. I'm like, holy shit, you vilify. Because everything else, I was looking at everything else, and I've had these conversations with you, Rachel, and I were talking about the other day. It's like, and Matt, last week when I said it, if Catholics and Christians are so hell-bent on paradise, what are we doing staying here? Why? Kill yourself. Just if paradise is what you want, kill yourself. But if that's the case, And my attributes are, I'm a guy who loves confrontation. I love fighting. I love debating. I love getting pridefully roused up, and you got to keep that in control. But it's like, if those are things that make me me, I'm clearly on this earth for a reason to use them, right? For Romans 8:28. That includes money. It includes money. So the more I looked at it, I went, holy shit, dude. It's been this entire time. You know, we're gonna shame you for wanting something that will liberate you here on this earth. God knows if you probably have more money and your life is more stress-free in those basic fundamentals of what you're needing, you're probably gonna have more time to open up and thank and appreciate God, and, you know, thank him for his blessings and have a better relationship with him. So I think, Catholic Church and the Jews that are responsible for this they have vilified money so that they can have it and we don't.
Yeah, absolutely. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. And then, like, you know, we've been talking about this for at least the last 2 years, right? We've been having off and on conversations about money. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. And then the confirmations and the God connections just start flowing to where you get confirmations all over the place that these are the connection points. These are the dots that are connecting, that are showing you that that's true. You'll find more in scripture that supports it. You'll find more people starting to talk about it and have these conversations, and more people will be brought into your life to have these conversations and share their experiences with. Because the reality is that you don't get authority over an area of your life that you haven't had to wrestle for. It's like Jacob.
Yeah.
Story. You know, you wrestle with God, and he is faithful to grant you access in his timing for your best, his purposes and for your best good. But it's not just going to be handed to you on a silver platter like you're a trust fund baby.
Oh, you gotta fucking work.
We are trust fund babies in a way. Like, you can think about it that way. We are co-heirs to his royal family, but he wants you to wrestle with it so that you
earn it
for it.
Earn it. It's kind of like the anti-socialism and communist view, why capitalism is such a good thing. Fight for what's yours. Yeah, and it makes too much sense.
You appreciate what you invest in. You know, it's not about earning salvation, but it's about the authority that you've been given. You have to actually recognize and then wrestle with, clear out all these cobwebs of, you know, the lies from the enemy that are keeping you stuck in the matrix. Breaking out of the matrix is not just this easy unplug. You have to wrestle to get yourself out of the matrix and into his kingdom and make that legacy happen with him.
Would you talk about Flex Your Feminine for a second and give that a plug while I open my window, and then we move on to the next segment? It's -10 out here, but it's boiling in here. FlexYourFeminine.com. Plug all that.
Everybody, if you are a biological woman, or you have a biological woman in your life that you love and don't want to see suffering through the fitness hustle matrix that I call it, you know, spinning her wheels, yo-yo dieting, hurting herself through workout programs, trying something and then feeling bad about herself and never breaking free from that cycle, go check out flexyourfeminine.com and see what I've got going on. I've got workout programs, nutrition consultations, and coaching mentorship opportunities for women who are interested in working with their blueprint that God designed through their physiology and biology, not against it. We can't train and eat just like men, ladies. So go check it out. FlexYourFeminine.com, FlexYourFeminine on Instagram, and hit me up if you have questions or if you're interested in learning more.
I wanted to play a portion of this. This is a video called Why the Jews Are Not God's Chosen People. And they go into a genealogy that I think is fair, because I'm very guilty of generalizing all the time. And when I started to listen to this, which is biblically accurate, and this might be just a refresher for you, I started to realize that it's not anti-Semitic what we do when we call them out, because we're not calling out an entire culture. And I want to play just a section of this and give it a little talk. I'm going to play this now.
When the Israelites took the Promised Land, they eventually formed two kingdoms, Israel and Judah, or the northern and southern kingdom. Israel, which was the northern kingdom, was composed of the 10 tribes of Israel, and Judah was composed of Benjamin and Judah in the south. It's important to remember now that the Israelites were surrounded by pagan tribes that they had failed to exterminate many times, often intermarrying with them and adopting their pagan practices instead. This disobedience angered God, and he brought judgment on both Israel and Judah through the various empires that conquered them and took them away, like the Assyrians and the Babylonians. After the Babylonians were themselves judged by God using the Persian Empire, a window opened up for some of the Israelites to move back to their territories. Of course, by this time, which was around the 5th century BC, that territory had been taken up by pagan tribes again, particularly the Edomites. This is a significant detail, so remember it for later. Now for a quick genealogy review. Isaac, Abraham's son, had two sons, Jacob and Esau. Jacob was the younger and received God's blessing. Jacob gave rise to the 12 tribes of Israel, or the Israelites. In Genesis 36 verses 2 through 3, the Bible tells us that Esau took 3 wives, 2 being Canaanites, which was a prohibited union by God, and an
I want to pause this for a second, go back. We don't need to really hear the whole thing. These are what he's talking about. There's a massive distinctible difference between Jews and Israelite, and they stem from here. So he talks about Jacob, whose name was changed to Israel. They go this direction, and then...
and received God's blessing.
Oh, this is another thing, too. This is the one thing that kind of bothered me a couple weeks ago when I discovered this. If you go to Matthew... and you look at the genealogy in the first first chapter of the book of Matthew, you see the genealogy of Jesus. I'm like, oh my God, wow, Jesus always came from the line of David, but did he? Because Joseph, his adoptive father, did.
Oh, I love this.
Okay, explain that then, because all right, where am I wrong? Because Mary didn't come from the line of him, did he? Did she?
Yes, she did. She was listed in the genealogy.
I gotta look at that.
This is why feminists who claim that the Bible and our God are so patriarchal and toxically masculine crack me up, because they don't know the Bible. God seeded,
she's
Mary was
here,
a virgin.
Jacob, the father of Joseph, who was a husband of Mary, of who Jesus was born. So unless they're related, like cousins.
Which book are you reading?
Matthew. The first chapter of Matthew.
Who was there's more than Matthew's accord of the genealogy. Okay. Which disciple was a medical doctor, trained medical doctor?
Oh shit. It wasn't the one with the B, not I can't remember his name. Bartholomew?
No.
Okay.
I believe it was John.
Okay.
But I could be completely wrong. There's one of them.
You said John?
John,
who was Jesus' brother.
There's one of them, I'm forgetting right now which one, but there was one of them who, in his depiction of the genealogy, he listed Mary.
Huh.
And it was a very, again, he was the doctor on staff, right? So very anti-matrix to give a woman any credit, especially in genealogy, because genealogy is historically through the line of the man. Okay. But we know that Jesus was conceived through a virgin birth. That's the whole story, which means that Mary's womb was seeded by God. We know that Jesus is God's son. So no, Joseph was the adopted father. There is no DNA of Joseph's in Christ. Mm-hmm. Only Mary's. Mary, the feminine, made up the physical matter mother of Christ's DNA, his genealogy. She came from the line of David.
Yeah, okay, I have to look at that, because if I just take it for the face value of what the book of Matthew says, it's Joseph who came from the line of David, because they list all the fathers. So I don't understand how Mary could, unless she was I mean, marrying cousins in the family, maybe that could be some. I don't know.
Yeah, but think about how many children did David have?
Yeah, probably a lot.
A lot.
Yeah.
Like his seed.
Wait, David was Solomon's son, right?
I think so.
Yeah, and King Solomon, it was King Solomon first, then David, right? Not the other way around.
Right. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, Solomon had a shit ton of fucking kids because he had 1,000 women, 700 wives and concubines. So I'm not going to split hairs on that.
The cousin thing, like they were cousins. It's like,
I don't give a shit.
Maybe she came from the line of David. Joseph came from the line of David, but the line of David is like millions of people.
Yes, I'm fine with that. This is what I want to play. The problem with the term Jew.
Okay.
It says, this is from the Jewish Almanac 1980, page 3. Strictly speaking, it is incorrect to call an ancient Israelite a Jew or to call a contemporary Jew an Israelite or a Hebrew.
Strictly speaking, it is incorrect to call an ancient Israelite a Jew or to call a contemporary Jew an Israelite or a Hebrew. Jewish Almanac, 1980, page 3. The first most important thing to realize is that the word Jew is a loaded term. It originates from one of the tribes of Israel named Judah. Judah was one of Jacob's 12 sons, and the term Jew refers to people who lived in or were from Judah, the territory of land that the tribe of Judah received as their inheritance once they entered the Promised Land. Later, this was called Judea, which is a Greco-Roman transliteration, and that means that the Jews were specifically from Judea. This may seem like no big deal, but it's actually very significant. Firstly, what it means is that those before the territory of Judah was created were not Jews. Moses wasn't a Jew, nor was he Jewish. Jacob was not a Jew or Jewish either. Isaac wasn't a Jew, nor was he Jewish. Abraham wasn't a Jew, because Abraham was a Hebrew, a descendant of Eber. Abraham was also promised to be the father of many nations, not just one nation or group of people, i.e. the Jews. In fact, up until and including Jacob, all of these patriarchs were referred to as Hebrews. God famously changed Jacob's name to Israel, and between the time of Jacob, through the time of Moses, and up until the territory of Judah was established, the people of the Bible were called Hebrews and Israelites, respectively. If the significance of these things isn't immediately obvious, don't worry. It will become very plain as we dive deeper into this. Moving on. What this means is that once the term Jew even began being used, it was really only used to refer to a minority of the people within Israel, that is, the Judeans or those from Judah. The Bible is therefore not about the Jews, nor are the Jews the founders of monotheism, nor even the majority of people highlighted in Scripture. Samson was from the tribe of Dan. Deborah was from the tribe of Ephraim. Gideon was from Manasseh. Elijah came from Gad or Manasseh. And Elisha, his protege, came from Issachar. Joshua and Samuel were from the tribe of Ephraim, and Moses and Aaron were from the tribe of Levi. All of these famous Bible heroes were Israelites, not Jews. They did not come from Judah, nor did they refer to themselves as Jews, because they had no reason to. The Bible also speaks of Egyptians, Phoenicians, Assyrians, Babylonians, Armenians, Persians, Greeks, Romans, and countless other pagan tribes and peoples. So, anyone telling you that the Jews are the center of Scripture is just not telling you the truth. But now things start to get a little more complicated, and for that, you have to know a bit of history.
That itself was fascinating. I'm like, oh my God, you're not generalizing a group of people, which gives more validity if you really want to think about it. And he goes into talking about that. I want to branch off so where they had that that branch. I think it was Esau who had two wives, and one was not married, or one was a Canaanite, I think, or something. I'm gonna screw this up. And wasn't a proper marriage because they weren't allowed to marry that group, so he did anyways, and then they branch off. And I'm like, well, the more you actually do this genealogy, you could see the separation from where the righteousness is supposed to be. They're not God's chosen. They're not the fucking chosen people. They're completely different people.
Yes. And my add to that is this terminology of the chosen people is very, very widely open to interpretation / what we already have assumptions based on. Like when we hear that phrase, what we assign the story to mean of what that phrase means. And it could easily be explained as the chosen people does not mean, in reality, maybe they want you to think it does, but it doesn't in reality mean that they are some superior race of humanity. It means that it's simply a lineage that God chose to send his son through to save all of humanity. I don't know. That's my 2 cents.
Yeah.
And to clarify my point earlier on the genealogy of Mary versus the genealogy of Joseph, it was James, who was the doctor.
James, I think, still was a brother of Christ.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a lot of people don't understand, don't know that either. There's he had siblings because it wasn't like Mary after a virgin; she still had a husband. Did you watch the Netflix Mary, the movie on Netflix?
I did.
Yeah, I started it, and I turned it off because I'm like, if this is not biblically accurate, I don't watch it. How was it?
It wasn't that biblically accurate. I mean, they definitely made it. They definitely took creative license with her story. However, it was beautiful. Like they really did a beautiful production. And it was interesting because they, obviously it was titled Mary. It really was all about Mary and like her from her perspective and what she may have experienced. So there's a lot about Mary that we don't know and her story that we don't know from scripture. Right. And so they did take a lot of creative license, but I found it rather entertaining, which is what you should treat it as. It's not a documentary. It's not supposed to be that accurate. Honestly, it's not going to be accurate from something like Netflix anyway. And because we don't have a whole lot of accurate account of Mary's life before Christ or even after he was born, we don't really have enough to make a movie out of. You know what I mean? So the creative license that they took, I thought that they did a good job with. The girl that played Mary did an absolutely incredible job. She was a beautiful actress. And it was, I watched it over Christmas season. So
that's when I started it. And I remember being a kid and hearing about how horrible Herod was. And I couldn't comprehend as a kid, he ordered all
he did a great job too.
Oh yeah.
He did.
I didn't know that Herod did kill I think 2 of his wives and their families, and he was just ruthless.
So there were certain things that were accurate according to the Bible and probably historical context. And then there was other stuff that I'm sure they took a lot of liberty with to make a good movie out of. But I watched it because I wanted to support with my attention making more movies out of scripture. Like there was a Moses movie that came out years ago that I watched too. And there was another one about Noah with
Russell Crowe.
Thank you, Russell Crowe.
It wasn't that biblically accurate.
No.
Well, if you're at the time, they didn't, they called him a creator, and they had Methuselah. Again, Anthony Hopkins was Methuselah in that.
Yes.
They had the Watchers, which was cool.
Yes, that was
I was
cool.
like, oh, it's pretty interesting.
But
it was not
a lot of creative license, and it's Hollywood. It's not a pulpit. You know what I mean? So I watch those things, and I definitely want to put my discernment glasses on. However, I also want to support that kind of content being created because there is so much in scripture that, it would just be awesome.
They use the Bible. They use scripture for God knows how many movies. And it's just, if you look at, like, one of my favorites is I'm a huge fan of the Alien franchise. And when Prometheus came out, I was like, are you kidding me? This is a Bible story. What is this? This is ridiculous. And they even admit in the script that if anybody's ever seen Prometheus and you're like, what the hell is this all about? They admit that that wasn't included in the movie, but in the script, it was supposed to be these engineers are supposed to wipe out the human race because they said that the engineers took a human child, taught him their ways, brought him back to Earth, and we crucified and killed him for it. And it's like, oh, so Jesus was an alien abductee. So it's like, yeah, it's like they use biblical shit all the time. That blows me away. I want to pivot and I want to have some kind of levity. We have to watch some of these liberal meltdowns from the other day and just, here we go.
Hey guys, everything feels really out of control and scary, and I'm really anxious. Elon Musk, did a Nazi salute for some reason. That's so scary. And Donald Trump's the president, and that's so scary. And he basically admitted to voter fraud, but we're all just kind of glossing over that. Also, if you look up, this is random, if you look up right now in the search bar on TikTok, the Taylor Swift song, The Smallest Man Who Ever Lived, it's all, for me at least, I'll tell you, it's all replaced with woman, ? What is about to happen? I have such impending doom and fear, and what is about to happen? So I'm just laughing because I'm scared. I don't, why, I'm not understanding either why Elon Musk is involved. Isn't he not American? What is fucking going on? What is happening?
I'm going to give her credit for this one. For those who don't know, Elon Musk did a Nazi salute, apparently, and everyone's losing their fucking mind over it. I'm going to give her handle is Mommy88. She's actually a friend, and she's been on the show a couple times. I'm going to play her explanation of this. She's the one who does the perfect cackling Kamala Harris impersonation, but she said this, and I reposted this because I like what she said.
Something interesting is happening on social media, and I've seen it over and over and over again, but I can't believe that people, on the right side especially, are still falling for it. Elon Musk yesterday at the inauguration said, "My hearts all go out to you," and he did this weird autistic thing, okay? He has Asperger's or something like that. Obviously, something's not all there. The guy's an actual genius. And if you guys pay really close attention in history, people that are insanely artistic or smart, they're not all there, okay? But what I do know is that he's been a friend to Israel since October 7th. He's worn that hostage pin everywhere he went. He unapologetically supported Israel. That's the kind of stuff that I pay attention to. You have to look at actions. Don't take things out of context that CNN posted, because guess what? They just succeeded with their division tactic. I see people fighting about this. You guys, you don't understand. We got into the office and he cleaned house from the Senate to the House to the actual seat. And you're allowing a tiny clip on day one to divide this many of you? Guys, you are literally falling for the propaganda worse than liberals right now. You can have your opinions. I'm not here to sway anyone. But the bottom line is you need to start really strategically thinking when you are looking at social media content. You have to stop looking at these little tiny edited clips and assume that the entire story is there. It goes for the other side as well. I saw a clip of Barron Trump circulating all over social media as if he said something menacing to Joe Biden, and Joe Biden did this face. First of all, it's taken from the other angle. You will see that all he did was say hello to him and hello to Kamala Harris. That moment that you're seeing, he was just saying hi to Kamala Harris. That's it. Both sides are guilty of this BS. But when it happens and when people start getting divided, it's nonsense. We worked so hard to get here, and this is the shit that you're focusing on? Please stop absorbing these mainstream media outlets. Yesterday was only day one. This is going to start happening heavily. You need to have a better strategy. Stop being so gullible and naive. It's ridiculous at this point. Stop falling for their BS. Stop. Hillary Clinton has done something like that. Kamala Harris has done something like that. And it was not taken this much out of context at all. You want to know why? The left completely diminished it. They like to squeeze down all the stuff that exposes their party. And maybe she didn't do a Nazi salute. It goes both ways. Like I said, I didn't see the context of it being anywhere near a Nazi salute on her behalf either. So please, stop taking things out of context. It's ridiculous. And honestly, we're so much better than this. Like I said, he has been a friend to Israel since day one. Actions matter, not a 2-second clip taken completely out of context.
What blows me away is she's talking about this. It creates people on both sides, like this woman with multicolored hair, who I have to legitimately wonder how many kids are going to commit suicide yesterday or as time goes on because a big boogeyman is in the office that they don't know how to process. And how many people are going to, they're going to ruin holidays. All these Trump supporters are going to be, hey, I told you he's back in office. And they're going to make up for the 4 years of shit under Biden. The only thing that ever, I guess it makes sense is you're in the fitness industry. You're a 1%. You're a 1%. And you have an endless supply of people to market to because as Americans, we are fat, we are lazy, we are unhealthy. That's the majority of people. It's the same thing with this. A majority of people who do not want proper information. We want to be deluded and take a side and be emotionally overrun and not stop, pause, and go, maybe I should research more. But it's incredible.
And like I always say, and you always yell at me for ruining it.
Yeah, all right, you can ruin it.
It's how do I say it? It's a pathetic lack of personal accountability and responsibility to allow yourself to get so easily distracted. It's like how I dry up when men go crazy for freaking professional sports. Like it's so pathetic that you are willingly putting your energy into stressing out about someone like Elon Musk having a 3-second clip taken out of context, and you're worrying about what it's being presented as a Nazi salute. And then you're extrapolating very, very immediately how that somehow affects you. I mean, the level of narcissism is imprisoning you. And it's looshing your energy, which is exactly what our enemy wants. So take your energy off of this crap, watch it play out, disassociate from what is going on energetically and emotionally. Take control of your mind and exercise dominion over the soil of your mind and go do something productive. Because the reality of the situation is what's going on in the Capitol is going to happen whether you're watching or not. What's going on behind the scenes in the shadows with the cabal, with the white hats, if you think they exist, whatever, is going to happen whether you're watching or not. Worry about your family. Worry about your community. Worry about your own life. Like, this is why the work that I do with women in fitness and nutrition, it's like, take dominion and responsibility and exercise authority over your own body. That is the home you have without having to pay a mortgage on it.
Can't when your mind is
the
being,
only one you get.
Yeah, you can't when your mind is being completely overrun
Exactly.
nonstop by we're not even talking about the wildfires anymore, and it's just days later.
No, because you all have allowed the parasitic energy to hijack your mind and control your life.
I'm sure there are conservatives out there like this, but here's another example of whatever.
Hello, my name is Scarlett Kelly, and I am officially declaring war on the Republican Party. If you are a Republican on TikTok and you want to interact with me, you deserve to die. You deserve to be shot. You deserve whatever suffering could possibly come to you. If you are a Republican and try to start any of that kind of nonsense with me in person, you will lose your life. This is war. I am not joking. It's done. You are not an American anymore. You're out. You're off the list. You've been naughty. Like, come on. We're going to start giving you the coal in the form of massive stones on top of a slab of wood on top of you. Have a wonderful day.
When you look at these people, I now I wonder.
Yeah, there's so much.
Dude, it's got to be pharmaceutical, alcohol, food. I mean, just the quality of this person's skin and their hair and their dark eyes, and they're unhealthy. They're completely unhealthy. How much shit, I really legitimately wonder, are we in store for when somebody like this passes his seed on to create another life with all the shit that is warping his brain into acting and feeling like this? How much, I really want to know, when you've got your whatever city processing plant for your water, how much of your urine and your feces that you're pumping out back into the sewers that go into water processing plants, that they can't get these chemicals out? Are we really just completely over the edge? This is not a normal, rational human being. This is not a psychosis. After seeing what prednisone, a prescription drug, did to my mother and changed her personality, and then finding out how many other people are affected by that, I have to wonder, what chemicals are doing this to these people that is absolutely making them fucking insane?
It's chemical warfare on the physical plane, and that what we're watching is also massive spiritual warfare. I mean, that person is oppressed by probably multiple entities. You don't act like that just off of chemical warfare. You don't. That's some demonic shit.
There is, yeah. Well, yeah. You get into the demonic influence. Well, your door's easily opened. Your door's unlocked when you're on that other shit and you're open for influence.
Yeah, you hand over authority.
Fucking ridiculous.
Then your body, your brain, your mouth is just a vehicle for principalities to take effect.
Yeah.
Accomplish their goal.
Here's audio for those who are having a problem with CNN suggested that Elon did a Nazi salute. He was I'm not going to fucking bother. I'm not perpetuating this shit. If anybody saw it, I don't care if he made a Nazi salute. I really don't give two shits about anything. The guy is a literal functioning genius, and they're nuts. That's about it.
They're grasping at straws, like the left, CNN. They're grasping at anything right now to get views. They're trying to save their own butts at this point.
The Commandant of the U.S. Coast Guard, Linda Fagan, a woman, has been terminated over her failure to address border security and her excessive focus on DEI.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
Good, man. Trump signs executive orders making it okay to call people gay and retarded again. I'm fine with that.
He did?
No, it's a joke.
Oh, okay. I was like, I didn't watch that one.
Fucking, no, there you go.
Yeah. I made a... What are we on? So on X now, I mean, people still call it Twitter.
Yeah.
What are we calling... Like, they used to be called tweets. What are they now that it's X?
I don't know.
That's whatever.
I don't know.
Anyway, I made a tweet yesterday about the, one of the big executive orders that he signed was establishing that there are only two genders, male and female.
It's the official policy of the United States government to recognize there are only two genders. And how the hell do you take a Middle Eastern government, and I'm not going to lie, I would have loved to seen cameras not on Hillary Clinton, because she would have been a ruthless cunt, and I'm not going to lie, it would have been pretty impressive to see, but Kamala Harris at a table with Middle Eastern leadership. I mean, misogynist male Middle Eastern leadership who do not allow women to talk, and watch them deal with her, express her admiration for multiple genders. We need to go get her a hijab. Shut this woman up. I would love to see them go, these negotiations, we don't negotiate with women. Send a man. Oh, I wish that would have happened.
But it just, nothing would have happened because they wouldn't have acknowledged her. Like, we're not entering negotiations with a woman, so nothing's going to be accomplished.
And he ended DEI on a government level. The states still have states' laws and states' rights. So the states can still do whatever. I love these governors who are refusing to participate in the deportation shit. It's only going to bite them when it comes down to their re-election campaigns.
Correct. Yeah.
If they didn't learn anything, like you got Brandon Johnson not going to participate with ICE going into removing people. Our governor, Pritzker, not going to participate. It's like, did you guys not see you got your asses trumped in the election?
Right.
They're going to have consequences.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what, we have, the house of cards is falling, just because Trump, like some of us are celebrating, and I know that there's kind of an exhale sigh of relief in some ways that Trump and the current administration is in and the old administration is out. And I can empathize with that for sure, but we still have a lot of work to do. Like, there's a lot about the house of cards that still needs to fall. And it includes things like governors and local level city councils and mayors and stuff like this, school boards that need to be completely remodeled, reestablished. And that's going to take some time. But the ship has to start turning somewhere. It just takes time to turn it all the way around.
Let's see if it happens. All right, tell everybody about Flex Your Feminine again. How can they support you, get involved with you, work with you, follow you?
Yeah, come follow me on Instagram, Flex Your Feminine. I am back on X now, which is also Flex Your Feminine, but there's no E in Flex. Or check out flexyourfeminine.com. And this is specifically for my girls, specifically for the women and men, if you want to support your woman getting out of the hustle matrix and being healthy, because it's different. It looks different for girls than it does for boys. We were created equal, but not the same. So come check me out.
Parents, don't forget, you got your little snot-nosed Jimmy and Johnny brats and Jane sit at the table. They're like, I don't want to eat my fruits and vegetables. We got a solution for you. Free. Text veggies to 708-982-0974. That's 708-982-0974. Text veggies, and I will give you a solution that will get your kids eating more fruits and vegetables, and they'll probably love it. Do not forget to check out everything on Spreely.com. All the other shows, the Burn Pit Podcast, Report and Opine, Shannon Joy Show, Pete Santilli, Evening Rants, and more. The free speech platform and the social media, videos, news clips, all the things out there. Spreely TV. Download the app for your smart TV, Apple, Fire Stick, Roku, and Freedom Hub, all one word, for your smartphone. You Android users, even you too. Whatever it is. Tomorrow, Burn Pit Boys are joining, so make sure you go and check us out as well too. They're two. All right. Have a great damn day, guys. Go out and help somebody today, and if you can't help them, just don't hurt them. See you tomorrow.